Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. I'm your host, Ethan Schmidt, bringing you another week of Clarksville High School football with the head football coach of the Wildcats, Coach Shelby. How are you, sir?
Oh, pretty good. Had a good practice today, so we're excited for the challenge this week.
It's been a pretty good week of practice. I know we've been kind of like watching for storms in the area, and they've held off, luckily for us, so far this week. But I feel like it's just been probably because the weather is like the temperature's dropping.
Yeah, temperatures dropping helps. Yesterday I think they had to call the soccer game early because of lightning, but it missed us, so we were okay to get our stuff in. So it's been better than I thought. I thought we were going to end up in the gym a whole bunch this week.
Absolutely, and again, we'll knock on some wood so we don't end up in the gym, on a walkthrough day. I'm sure the kids would enjoy that.
On Friday.
Yeah. We can't play football in the gym on Friday for certain. I'm sure Coach Young wouldn't be a big fan of that at all. So, Coach, again, we want to start off by thanking our sponsors here. Of course, Sheepdog Custom Inc., our overall sponsor for the show. We want to thank him and Coach Stephen Conway for all that he does for us. Excited to always get a chance to continue to work with Coach Conway and be able to support him and show off his merch, including, different shirts that we have throughout the season. We have Wyatt Johnson Hyundai, who just gave us a big donation. They've been at all the home games. They bring a car out, so you can check out Wyatt Johnson Hyundai as well. Of course, Varsity Pins letting us use their location. You can hear the duck pin bowling in the background here, pretty much every show that we do.
Katie said they got a new menu over there, too.
They do have a new menu, and actually I
may have to get that on a break and see what's really good on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So they actually dropped that video today on their social media. So former Clarksville High School Wildcat Taylor Albertia, who works here and does that, she was a part of the video. So she handles a lot of their information. She's who got us set up in this as well with Grant, who another former CHS guy, and Chase Knott as well.
Bartender said there was a lot of cool stuff on there.
Absolutely. So, of course, we got to make sure that if you're out here, check out the new menu, and you come out, check out the menu as well when you come to Varsity Pins. And, of course, we want to thank Middle Tennessee Sports, who's live streaming this for us, Mr. Greg, Miss Sarah. Super thankful for all that they do for us and the live stream of the games. And I know there's a lot of people who watch those games from all over the United States, former Wildcats getting a chance to watch it. And I know I have a lot of people who, wait for me to share that link every Friday.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of guys overseas, too. Dads overseas, uncles overseas, moms overseas. They get to watch the game, so that's good, too.
All right, Coach, let's talk a little bit about Clarksville High School and what we saw last week. Again, you got a chance against McGavock, and when McGavock came in, it wasn't their full team. We know that.
Yeah.
They put up an effort, and they really did try to give the best they possibly could, given everything that they're going through this season. But your team went out and did what they were supposed to do, executed on every drive. I felt bad at, we talk about Caleb Durnan, who's a really good kid.
Yeah, he is.
He's a really, really good kid. He punts the ball very well, but there's certain games throughout the year where you have to look at Caleb and be like, we're going to punt. Don't worry, it's going to happen. But, I think Wiggins, he only punted 7 total times last year.
Yeah, I feel bad for the punter sometimes because I feel like I'm working against the punter. If I do a bad job, he gets to play. And if I do a good job, he doesn't get to play. And it's the only spot on the field like that. So Caleb's a really good kid. He's a good teammate. He's a good sport about it. But he does want to, he does want to play. And, we want him not to play because he's the punter. You know, so it's kind of a weird situation on that.
What did you see that went well for your team in that game against McGavock? I mean, you had a lot of different things. I mean, I don't remember the last time. I mean, in the 6 years that I've been here with you, I don't remember the last time we've had a safety.
Yeah.
We had a pick 6 in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different things that went right for your team, and I think it was just kind of like trusting that process.
Yeah, it was definitely a good night for us. We scored in a bunch of different ways. I went back every year after week 5. I go back and do a self-scout on, an analysis on everything we're doing, which we do weekly as we're going, but a major one at the midway point. And I think we ran 30 offensive plays and scored 56 points in that game. So we had a lot of help from the defense. They put us in great spots. The special teams gave us some short fields, and the kids executed the things that we called. So it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, in a game like that, you get a chance to see a lot of your, kind of JV players get a chance to play varsity, or some of those guys who are varsity guys who give us good scout team reps.
Yeah.
And they're not the starter, but they're always, 1 or 2 plays away from being that guy. You get to see them in the game as well.
Yeah, it's helpful. It helps our development a little bit when we get those guys in, and those guys get a chance to go in and play and get some reps that are, meaningful reps and kind of see what they can do, which is really good. And it's helped our program over the last few years to have a couple games like that where the guys can slowly get in there without being just thrust into it really, really early. So that helps. And then there's a lot of good football players. I know you help our JV team and our freshman team, and there's a lot of guys that are really good football players that are on those levels that are just blocked right now by really good football players older than them. So when they get a chance to get in there, it helps our program long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it was one of those games where you saw a lot of good things happen early and often in that contest, and you had your guys executing, and they were realizing, when they need to do stuff. I mean, a heads-up play by Coley Reynolds. He realized he wasn't guarded, and he immediately looked over at Caden and, changed the whole trajectory of what the play was just by pointing to him and saying, I'm free out here.
Yeah, and they weren't obvious about it either. So, they got that called. They got that figured out. That happens more than you think, where you're subbing on your sideline and somebody goes, unseen or something like that. So hopefully that'll help us a little, later down the road. I thought the offensive line played well. I think Trayvon Bledsoe played well. I think Morgan Padilla played well. I think we had a bunch of guys that played good in different spots in that game. I think Ethan Dalrymple did a really good job on the kickoff team. Our kickoff team's really, really good, and we put a lot of work and time and energy in that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of those things where I think a lot of people kind of forget. We're watching everybody's special teams throughout the week to kind of figure out where that weakness is, and that's one of those things where. A lot of coaches may not spend as much time, but I mean, for Coach Conway, I know he's coaching the D-line, but you're also like, what are their tendencies on kickoff? Who's a guy not to kick to? Where should we put this ball? Where is your mindset going in these weeks? And he's usually dissecting so many different looks on kickoffs to just be like, hey, they're going to line up like this or that, or we can get them here.
Yeah, and he does a good job of looking at it early. Coach Zolkowski helps us with that too. Obviously, I look at special teams too because, Coach Conway's got a lot with the substitutions and the calls and the defense. So that's kind of a teamwork effort over there a little bit sometimes. And then, we've played really well in those phases of the game, and I'm proud of that. Over the course of not just this year, but over the past few years, I think we played really, really well since Coach Conway started doing that.
No game on Monday for the JV, so we don't have much to kind of talk about there, but you get a chance to get some rest with some of those guys, and I know obviously it's, sometimes that's a grueling thing where you have Monday and then you have, maybe a freshman game on Thursday, so you get opportunity to play some of those younger guys a little bit more, but then, it's a long week when you really look at it.
It is a long week. I know Thursday as well, we had to move the game against Dixon to October 23rd, the freshman game, because they moved the middle school game that was supposed to be at home tonight to tomorrow. So the field was double booked on that. So we moved that over there. So those guys will get to play that game later, but I'm just glad they get to play, as it's going on. So it's really, really helped us out to have those sub-varsity guys getting actual quarters. The freshman games are important just because the JV games go by so fast, 8-minute quarters. And if you've got 57 freshmen in 8-minute quarters, I mean, it's really, really hard to get those guys a quality look, and they deserve a look for practicing every day, and they deserve some time on the field to show what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Well, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, Colton Smith's going to join us to get his chance to talk a little bit about his time at Clarksville High School and so much more. You're listening to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. And welcome back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. Joining us at this time is senior offensive and defensive lineman Colton Smith. Hello, Colton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you up here, Colton, because you're one of those guys, and Coach Shelby can attest to this. He coached your older brother as well. I had one season with your older brother, but you're a guy who's been around the Clarksville High School program since you were in middle school and elementary school. You were watching your older brother play. What's it mean for you to be a Clarksville High Wildcat and being able to kind of continue that family legacy?
It really means a lot. just helping. Like since my brother came here, it's just like meant a lot, and being able to be like a starter and helping the team out is a really great experience.
Yeah, Colton's done a really good job. He came in for us at guard when Kyle McPherson got hurt, and we didn't miss a beat. So, he's done a really, really good job stepping in for him. Strong kid, does what he's supposed to do. He's had a really good senior year, I think.
Yeah, and that has to be a little bit like, not nerve-wracking, but in the same, I guess, breath maybe it is, because your first time that you come in to be like into that starting role, or at least in that role at that point, it's the Warfield Shield game. It's Rossview. I know you've been practicing and you get your time on the hill and everything like that. But what was that like to kind of come in that like the biggest rivalry game for you and for anybody else that puts on purple and gold and red and black in this area? That's the big rivalry game, and you get to come in and kind of continue to make sure that we have success offensively.
Yeah, it's always nervous going against a big rivalry like that. But just having like a supporting teammates around me at the O-line and just being able to play with them like the whole time throughout my high school career, they like had my back the whole game.
You could tell Colton was a little nervous, but I asked Jim about it. I said, hey, is Colton ready to go? Jim's like, yep, he's ready to go. We're good. So then I went over and talked to him a little bit and, just kind of talked the bugs out of him a little bit, and then he was ready to go after that. But Coach Irwin had full faith in Colton, and him and Nick, and those guys, they work together kind of like almost in isolation up there on top of the hill for half of their practice, and then they come down and we don't always get to see their individual work unless we're filming it, which we do a lot, but unless we're filming it. But Jim had 100% confidence he was ready to go, and he came in and did a really good job for us.
Yeah, and still have. You continue to do a good job for us. It wasn't just one game. You're still there. You're getting a chance to continue to play, so that's always exciting. What's it like to be coached by Jim Irwin? Jim's a character in his own, but he's one of those coaches where it's kind of like the speak softly, carry a big stick type person. Like, he doesn't really like when he yells, it's not like I'm yelling all the time, but it's like when I yell, I mean it. Yeah. So what's it like to get coached by Jim?
It's really amazing. He's like one of the greatest coaches I've ever had playing football. And when he yells, we messed up with something, but we always get straight to it. He's just a really amazing coach.
I think he injects a lot of confidence in those guys. I think he does a good job of that. He's a cool, calm, collected guy, and his players play like that. They don't get too frazzled. They don't get too up or too down. And you can tell that, they have a good quality, strong position coach in Jim.
Yeah. You also get a chance to work with Coach Conway, and I know it's another person that is one of those coaches that, again, very rarely do you see him show any emotion. He's very even keel all the time. What's it like when you get to work with Coach Conway in those defensive drills?
Some of the drills he has are like games, and that really helps out a lot because his one thing is like having fun, then like having fun and being able to do the sport and like your drills and moves. And he's also cool, calm, and collective. He's a really, really fun guy to be around.
Yeah, I think he always has good balance in his stuff where it's not too serious every single second, but it is serious. He does a good job of getting a lot of guys ready. We can throw a lot of fresh bodies in there, probably more than any position that we have. Just fresh body after body going in there. So I think he does a good job. I've joked with him about making T-shirts, and we talked to Coach Ellie about it today, actually. But we said Coach Conway should start making shirts that say, like, Jim in the gym, like J-I-M and then G-Y-M.
Yeah.
And then sell them out of the trailer. I think all the kids would buy them.
100%.
Like Jim in the gym shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, where's Jim?
He's
in the gym. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have a little brother who's playing for the team now, so you're getting to see kind of the perspective of, the young guy. You saw your older brother, but you didn't get to play at the same time. But now your younger brother's up here as a freshman. A lot of this freshman group. Obviously, early and often you got to be a good role model. But what do you tell your younger brother and some of these younger guys that are coming up now that you're in this senior role and you have this new perspective on, like, hey, I'm in my senior year. I was you a couple years ago.
Just have fun, but also take it serious. You get 4 years, and it goes by fast.
He's quite the chatterbox compared to the other two Smith brothers. He likes to talk. You always know where he's at. 'Cause he's always talking somewhere. You can hear where he's at.
Do you get? I mean, it's kind of funny because we have obviously two sets of Smith brothers.
Yeah.
We have Carter and we have Colton, and then we have Harrison and Dawson.
Right.
So, is it kind of cool to have like another player on the team that you're kind of sharing this perspective of like, man, our little brothers are annoying a little bit?
Yeah. Me and Dawson actually talked about that, like how both of our brothers are Smiths and they're freshmen.
Yeah.
So we kind of pick on them.
Yeah, it's always fun to be able to kind of have that younger brother out there that you can kind of, you got a kind of built-in best friend on the team at all times too, which is always a really cool
I don't know who started it yesterday, but Carter came up to me at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, Coach Shelby, where is the bucket of hash marks? And I said, I don't know. And then I could tell somebody was messing with him. He finally figured it out later. There's no bucket of hash marks.
I do know who started it.
Oh, you do know
I do know who started it.
I caught the end of it. So
is Carter here? Is he watching?
There. He's over there by the bucket of hash marks, probably.
Carter, it was Coach Edwards, wasn't it? That's who told you. It was Nick. Nick started. It was hilarious. It was good times. But, hey, but you know what, Carter? Way to be a trooper to try to find him, man.
Oh, he was working for him.
That's what we want to see, man. Good job.
The good thing about it is he could laugh and like joke about it. He doesn't get his feelings hurt over something. But that's just one of those freshman things,
Absolutely. What is, talking about Clarksville High School and obviously being around the program, like I said, for more than just the 4 years you've been a player here, what's been a moment that stuck out to you? What's been something that like you're going to treasure? I know we still have a bunch of season left in front of us, and we're hoping to make a good run here. But what is something that has stuck out to you that you're never going to forget?
That game at Vanderbilt, that was a pretty fun game. And, like, going there for that long snap and, like, everybody just being behind my back, it was like everybody just having me.
I think a lot of the kids like that one.
Yeah.
It was a big one for a lot of the kids.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, you get a chance to play on an SEC field for the first time. And we talked about that when we were heading down there, that first coaches show we did. A lot of kids, you may never play on a field like that ever again. And to be able to say, like, a lot of these schools, they do that. A lot of those, Murfreesboro schools, they're used to going to play at wherever. And so to get that opportunity is really, really cool. All right, Colton. Who's been politicking to you this week, and who's been talking to you about being the next guest? Who are you nominating for next week's show?
Wyatt Dillard.
Wyatt Dillard.
Wyatt will be a good one. Yeah, Wyatt's got a lot of personality.
I enjoy Wyatt. I'm excited to get him up here and have him come talk a little football with us. Colt, man, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time, man. Thank you for talking about Clarksville High School football, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to step aside yet again. When we come back, Coach Shelby and I are going to break down this week's opponent as West Creek invites us over. Back to the Isaac Shelby Coaches Show. We're in our final segment here. I know we got a couple things going on, and I heard it was volleyball senior night over at Clarksville High School, and I know Miss Sarah's trying to get over there. And then, of course, Miss Lucy has a softball game tonight, so we're trying to get you on the road to softball.
She does. She's playing the red team today, which, we played a couple weeks ago. They're pretty good. They're like the New York Yankees of little girl softball. They know what base to throw it to.
Lucy's following a family tradition, though, right?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, she has a cousin that played at UT, played softball. Haley's actually getting married in a couple weeks, so it's
during football season.
Yeah, but it's our fall break, so it's not that big.
Okay, it's not too big of a deal.
Nah, it's not that big.
All right, we're not too worried about it. I was trying to see if we might get a Katie look over here.
Yeah, she does like cousin Haley, though. Haley was a good athlete.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely a name that was all over every newspaper, everything in the area, and very highly recruited.
She was also the freshman that was the post player when Bashara was a senior. So she took a lot of the physical like beatings of Bashara when Bashara was playing really, really good late in her career.
Yeah, Bash was a great player from the moment she stepped on the court.
Ain't no doubt about it. Yeah, she's one of the best ever.
Yeah, that was legitimately one of my favorite teams to watch. That was my senior year. They were all freshmen, and they were just phenomenal then. Yeah. So always great tradition at Clarksville High School we get a chance to talk about. But, Coach, let's talk about what's coming up this Friday. It is a trip to West Creek. It's another region game. If my math's correct, which I'm not the greatest at math, but I'm pretty smart when it comes to like football rankings, a win on Friday should at least guarantee a playoff spot.
I think it does, because I think you get a bunch of the middle teams where you have the win plus the tiebreaker win. So I think that'll help out.
So obviously this is a game that, we talked about it, the region games, no matter who the opponent is, it's double important. It just happens to kind of help maybe if this one is in one where we're not having to travel all the way to the other side of Nashville or, somewhere like that to face them. Yeah,
it's a little easier trip over there. West Creek's a fun place to play. It's always windy there for some reason. It's kind of like Kenwood, but not quite as bad as Kenwood. But it's always windy. It's in a big open space. So, a fun place to play. I think they got that concession stand on the other side now, on the visitor side, so that's pretty good. It's just a fun place to go watch football. You don't have to travel very far, so it was a little more fun when we knew some of the coaches a little bit better. Yeah. I do think Coach Booker is doing a really good job with that bunch. He comes from a great pedigree of coaches, and I think he does a good job with those guys.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people may not know a lot about Coach Booker, but he played on Tom Osborne, Nebraska team. I mean, he was a player on that squad, and so he's. You talk about his pedigree and the coaches who have coached him, and the players that he's been on a team with. I mean, that's the Nebraska in the '90s was like the
thing.
Yeah, it was Nebraska. Yeah. You had Miami and Notre Dame, but like Nebraska was it with Tommy Frazier and those guys.
I think he won a national title. I was number 7 pick of the draft. Yeah. Really smart football guy. He comes to our 7-on-7s in the summertime. So we've dealt with each other quite a bit. So really good guy. Yeah. I think West Creek's lucky to have a guy like that. So we'll kind of figure it out Friday. I think West Creek has coyotes, right? So native species as your mascot. Yes. So that puts you in the upper echelon of teams, I think, just having a native species.
We have wildcats around us all the time. Yeah. So I feel like we're good there, too.
Wildcats, hawks. I never understood Northwest. But there are no Vikings that I'm familiar with out that way. But the coyotes are native. Kenwood's mysterious.
Yeah.
The Knights.
I don't think there are many Knights in Clarksville.
I'm trying to think of the other ones, but
Montgomery Central, obviously the Indians.
Yeah, there were the Indians at one point, I would say. I don't know. I like native species.
Yeah, and that's a good one for West Creek, and out being kind of in the area that they are. There's probably a lot of more coyote out that way.
I'm sure there
100%.
is, yeah.
Near base,
over
all
by
that
post
good stuff.
With all the land stuff, yeah, for sure, coyotes.
Well, Coach, this West Creek team, obviously, they're playing on a short week, and that's one of those
really
things.
Short week.
Yeah, very short week. When you're coaching, and obviously, like I say, you're someone who likes to get into like a mode of like, this is what I'm preparing for, this is what I'm looking for. When you have a team that you really didn't get any kind of information on other than like they played Monday, so you might have had other tape, whatever it is, but you didn't have like the most recent look by them until Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, it's kind of a short like way to try to prep for that.
This is definitely difficult. Usually our mid-year self-scout obviously takes a backseat to that, but it kind of forced us to put a little more emphasis on the mid-year self-scout because there was no other tape to watch until Tuesday. But it's hard to put a game plan in that quick. It's hard to prepare that quick. They've got some talented players. They've got a couple receivers that are really good-looking players. So I don't know. We'll just have to kind of see. It's just been a weird year with finishing games on Saturdays and Mondays, and like I don't ever remember having this before ever. I think we had one year that a hurricane hit. I think we all played Saturday at Austin Peay one time. It might have even been a Friday. But no, it just never happens like this. But it's been a weird year weather-wise that's caused all kinds. And I don't like to be off my schedule. I threw a big fit in the weight room this morning first period because we couldn't find the plug that went to the radio. And I just refused to start weightlifting until we found the plug. It took like 15 minutes. that I threw a big old 6-year-old Lucy fit because we couldn't find it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that's why I know when you're looking at this, you're kind of looking at it and you're like, all right, I want to prep, but I really don't know. What is there something that's changed? Is there something that's different? But it is one of those things where obviously they're doing the exact same thing right now. They thought that they should, at that point they didn't play on Friday,
right.
And so Saturday and Sunday they're still preparing for Rossview. They can't prepare really for us at that moment. So they're on that short notice too.
It's really hard for them. It's hard for us, but it's really hard for them for sure, especially playing 2 high school games in a week. That's physically, that's hard. Emotionally, that's hard. It's hard to rest yourself. But I don't know. We just kind of operate. We don't like being off schedule either. So I threatened in the Christmas time to install bells at the house. Katie's shaking her head at me now. I do better when there's a bell every 50 minutes, so that keeps me on track. I like bells.
Yeah.
Oh, I like a schedule.
Yeah. So one thing I don't think I've ever asked you this question, and when you started as a head coach, you started at Northeast. So West Creek was built in 2009.
Yeah.
So I never played against West Creek as a player because I graduated in 2009 in the spring, but it opened in the fall. So we never played them at Clarksville High School when I was a player. But you were taking over as a head coach around the time that they were actually kind of, obviously getting their foot on the ground.
That was crazy.
What was that like for you as the head coach at Northeast?
It was crazy because, I wasn't the head coach. Brian was the head coach then. I took over the year after West Creek was built. But when they split us, obviously West Creek was still being built, and it was a Northeast Kenwood split, but it was like 90% Northeast. Right. It was way tilted that way. So half of our players, they weren't on our team anymore. They hired another coach named Shane Goodwin from, I think he was in Alabama at the time, really good coach. He did a really, really good job, but it was weird because we had to share facilities for a while. Yeah, so we would lift after school weightlifting. We would lift from 2:30 to 4, and then West Creek would come in and lift from 4 to 5:30. But there was no West Creek; they were still Northeast kids. So it was like half the kids just stayed and lifted. They were going to Northeast, and then when we were done, the other kids that were still at Northeast would come back and lift as West Creek at Northeast. And then it was super weird during spring practice because they didn't have a field yet. So it was our spring practice, and then as soon as we were done, West Creek came on and had their spring practice on our field, but we were going to play each other right after. It was crazy. And we had a couple guys. We had a lot of really, really talented guys that were on our roster and then went to West Creek, and it split us right at a weird time where we made a Final Four run 2 or 3 years after the split, which was crazy because CJ Board, who played for the Titans and played for the Giants, CJ's a great guy. He played for us as a freshman and then went to West Creek as a sophomore, and it kind of took our whole receiver core there for a while and had CJ, had they not built West Creek and CJ would have stayed with us, we might have won a state championship, I think.
Yeah. It's very
We
possible.
were really close without CJ.
Yeah, exactly.
CJ was a baller.
Yeah, you would have had, and we've talked about this, you would have had, we guaranteed 2 players in the NFL on that same team with Jalen and CJ. And, of course, we all know the Aaron Jones situation as well.
The Aaron Jones one was tough.
Yeah, so I think that's, it's a crazy thing. I don't think many people realize, when that happens or when a new school gets built a lot of times that, that's something that can happen. I know
it was real difficult because they were in the same building, too, all day long. And, some kids were going to West Creek and some were going to Northeast. And it was, it was just, super tense for, 6 months. It was a weird situation.
All right, Coach. So this week we obviously talked about West Creek. You talked about the team in town, so a chance for the kids to come out and travel and be over there. And it's not too far of a trip for our student body. My only suggestion to the student body is not to wear the opposing team's colors. That would be great.
Don't do that.
This time around. So whoever we need to talk to about that, or whoever has a connection with those kids, please let them know. Please don't wear maroon on Friday. That'd be great.
No maroon.
No maroon or gray. That'd be fantastic.
I was shocked at the end of the game when I looked up there and that student section was still full.
Yes.
Because I don't ever hear it. I don't hear any of the noise because between the headsets and kind of zoning in, like it sounds like to me like I'm at a funeral. I just don't hear any noise at all. And then at some point in the fourth quarter, I looked up there and it was just packed full all the way up there, Yeah.
Which is always good. So we want y'all to come out and travel over, obviously, come over to West Creek and watch this Friday. So that's what we would really like to see. Continue to come out and support your guys out there. And, I know a lot of our guys are always out at other sporting events and doing the exact same thing. So
a bunch of them are at volleyball tonight.
Absolutely.
And that smell did go away, too.
Oh, yeah, so whatever may have died on the field last week.
Yeah, over there in the field, I think it was a cow. Yeah. I wonder if a coyote got it.
And they're infringing. Wrong area.
Coyote.
Wrong area. They need to go back on over. Well, Coach, I want to thank you for your time as always. We appreciate you and appreciate you taking out time on your Wednesday. I know you're trying to get over to softball, so I'm not going to keep you any longer, but I do want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, heading to softball. Thanks everybody for what you do for the Wildcats. We really appreciate it. We couldn't have a program like this without all the support that we have.
And don't forget, tomorrow at Smoothie King, you can get the $9.99 deal over at Smoothie King. So we'll put that out on social media. Head over there, support the Wildcats at Smoothie King. Of course, big thank you to Sheepdog Custom Inc., Varsity Pins, Wyatt Johnson Hyundai, and, of course, Middle Tennessee Sports. And then, again, if you're interested in one of those sweet porch signs, I know the lady that creates those. They're getting created in my house. Callie & Co. Reach out to us, and we can get those taken care of for you as well.
Got one on my front door. Now we just have to go get the Caribbean nonsense.
Yeah, the Caribbean, whatever Kanan told us to get.
Yeah, Marcus said it was good, too. I don't know. I'm not Caribbean, but we're going to try it.
Marcus did text us last week. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening and joining us again this week. Thank you so much for being a part of this and continuing to see us grow and have some success here. And as always, Coach,
go Cats.
Go Cats. We'll talk to you guys next time.